Are you wondering what the month of June has in store for you? Well, keep watching because we're going to use the power of the tarot to help you figure that out. If you haven't met me yet, I'm Leesa. I'm a certified tarot consultant whose goal is to help you leverage the power of the tarot to gain insights into yourself, navigate your life, and make your life amazing. And on this channel, I do pick a card readings, tarotscope readings, meditations, other tarot-related videos. So if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit that little bell so that you can find my other videos and then see when other new videos come out. So let's just jump right into it. So if you are new to pick a card readings, understand that they are by nature a more general reading done for the collective. But if you were drawn to this video in particular, then this video is for you. So you and I are going to team up intuitively. We are going to help you get the guidance that you need for June. So while I'm setting up, take the next couple of minutes while I'm talking to slow your breathing, get into that really fuzzy, kind of warm, spacey headspace, and that's really going to help you tap into your intuition when it's time. So today's reading is all about June and the month of June. And so this is a time where, depending on where you live in the world, you could be getting ready to launch into summer, you could be getting ready to launch into winter, but it's definitely one of those transitionary seasons or months. And I think, for a lot of people, at least where I live in the United States, June is a very popular month for marriage. So there's a lot associated around that. It's, for me, it was always that beginning of summer, and it's traditionally kind of the end of the school year. So lots going on in June, but we definitely want to see how this is going to impact you in particular. Okay, so hopefully you are feeling pretty tuned in by this point. I just want to get this going. There we go. There. All right, excellent. All right, so we're going to be working with a few different decks today. But hopefully you are tuned in, you are ready to go. And I'm going to lay out 3 cards here on the table. And I have in my hands a few different things. I'm going to have you take a look at them one by one in just a second. Your job is to listen to your intuition and look at each item as I show it to you, and then decide which one speaks to you the most. So the first item that I have is this beautiful acorn charm. There. Okay, so we'll just set him there. The second one that I have is this key. All right. And then we have an Ankh. Okay, so take a quick minute if you need it, I guess pause the video if you have to, but just take a couple of seconds, decide which one of these really resonates with you the most. Okay, so now that you've decided, let's get to the reading. So I'm going to start with the acorn. So I'm going to go ahead and move the other 2 cards away for now. So if you chose the key or the Ankh, then I will put the timestamps down below for you to take a look at. And you're going to want to jump to that reading. But for now, let's go ahead and get started with our wonderful acorn. Okay, so group number 1 with our fun acorn here, our fun acorn charm. Let's see what we have for you. And that first message that we want to take a look at is actually the skunk spirit. I love these cards. They're absolutely beautiful. These are the animal spirit, our spirit animal oracle by Colette Baron Reed, and she has here a skunk spirit, and it says know your worth. And so while we're going through, just think about how, you know, what you are worth to the people around you, what you are worth to yourself, what you are worth in regards to your dreams and your goals. And just kind of keep that in mind as an overarching process in your head, or an idea of really what, you know, what the universe really is trying to tell you. So we are going to go ahead and go through a quick reading here. So we're looking at June. June for those of us in group 1, those people who have chosen the Acorn. What does June have in store for them? And let's see what we get here. All right. Very first card. Interesting. So we have the 4 of Swords, and coupled with that, we have the 6 of Coins. So very interesting. So looking at this right away, I get a sense that June and what's coming up in June, we're definitely coming off. There's this feeling of, you know, being rested, or being maybe forced to rest in a way that, you know, potentially is not exactly what you were hoping to see during maybe previous months. But this is what I'm seeing here, that you are in a situation where, you know, your spirit or your mind or your body is rested. You've had some time to kind of recoup and to reconsider. What you do have on your mind, though, kind of this thing that's over top of you, is dealing a lot with probably financial issues. And if not financial, just a give and take in general. So one of those things that is going to be around here in June is this idea of kind of being charged, being battery powered, but then at the same time being in the position where you are going to need to get something from someone, or you're going to be in a position where you will have something to pass on to someone else. The 6 of Coins is not always dealing with money. It could be dealing quite a bit with time, but it is dealing with resources. So it has a lot to do with what types of resources are around you for you to have and to grab or to pass along to others. You know, this is a fantastic card. So the Ace of Swords. I have this kind of looking at this position of kind of the deeper piece for you. And I see quite a bit of power and the ability to achieve great things. And I'm actually seeing for some of you, I'm getting a sense as though there was something probably a few months ago, actually, that was a really big win for you, a really big, exciting opportunity that was there. Let me turn this to get a little bit. Okay, so I'm getting the sense here that in general, there's a really strong foundation here. This is a fantastic card going into June. But I get a sense that for many of you, this is very short-lived. So you had this thing that you thought was going to be fantastic, and then things have just been flipped on their heads, so to speak. Whoops. So if you take a look here, this is such a happy card when it's upright. When we flip it upside down like this, there is this feeling of things being stagnant or things being held back. So I feel kind of wandering into June or moving into June, there is this sort of muted sense here for you. So this idea that, you know, maybe you've been unable to do the things that you've been wanting to do. Maybe you've had some things that have come up short for you. But in some way or another, you have been kind of in rest mode or wait mode. And one of those things that will be around for you is going to be some of these opportunities. They don't look huge. They look kind of, they're very subtle. So make sure you're definitely keeping an eye out for them. All right. Let's see here kind of what else we see coming in June for you. Okay. All right. Interesting. So we have death reversed, and this is really indicating a lot about what you are expecting you are going to see out of this month. And in the kind of the funny thing here is, a lot of people see death and they get very nervous about death. And actually, this particular deck kind of has some scary imagery on it. But death reversed, I feel like that's a really fantastic card here, especially if you've been feeling like you've been a little stuck, because death reversed in many cases can be moving ahead or moving on and getting out of something that you've been stuck in for a long while. But, for many of you, you may be thinking a bit more negatively, like, will I get out of here? Will I move out of this space? Some of the good things, let me turn and just take a look at these. Okay. So one of the really positive things that we're going to see here, so you can see I have the Six of Swords reversed coming in for you. And this is going to be something that's ultimately going to come in and is really going to help you. So one of the things I want to indicate here for many of you is there's going to be some, I'm seeing false starts again. There's just a lot of false starts here in June for you. But one of the great things about this card is, in the position that it's in right now, is this idea that it's ultimately going to help you. So there's going to be some false starts. There's going to be some things where you're wondering, gosh, why am I not moving forward? Why can I not move ahead? You can see here they're in a boat, but with it reversed, it's just, once again, this sort of stagnation. And I think you have this feeling that maybe, that's to be expected. I don't know. I think there is this sense in your head that there's going to be a lot of similarities, a lot of the same moving forward. But the nice thing is if you have a lot of restarts, if you have a lot of things where you need to kind of go back to the beginning, what that's telling me here in this position is that it's for a reason. There's a reason why that is like that. There's going to be something, actually, maybe it's not quite time. Maybe you need to perfect it. Maybe you need to do things over again more than once just to make sure that you're getting it right. One of the things that it potentially could actually hurt you in this situation, have the Ten of Wands here. And with him reversed, I see him just kind of dropping all of these sticks. So I would get the sense here that some of you may have the tendency at this point in June kind of to drop everything and almost throw your hands up and say, okay, forget it. I'm totally done. I don't have the ability to work with these things anymore. But I want to remind you, look, we've got this Ace of Swords. You absolutely do have those things. So don't just chuck out everything that you've been working on so far up to this point. And also just don't, chuck some of the things that you've been holding on to in terms of your responsibilities. It's not going to be right for you to just leave everything sitting on the table. You just don't want to drop everything. That will hinder you in the future. So be very careful. All right. Let's see here. I want to see how maybe some other people are going to react and kind of what we're seeing by the end of the month here. My goodness. Okay. All right. Interesting. All right. So I see when it comes to the people in your life, I want to give a bit of a warning here. And just kind of a bit of awareness. And this is why I do these readings, of course. When I see the star reversed, I see oftentimes a disconnect between you and the support or your support network. So I'm seeing this in a couple of different ways. Either other people are going to be incredibly unsupportive of what you are bringing to the table this month, and they're going to be very negative and they're going to push against you in a lot of ways. Or the opposite, and these kind of go together, the opposite is that you may have to make your own decisions and go things alone. The star reversed, to me, is an opportunity for you to prove that you can do it yourself. So I think it's going to be really important for you to make sure that you hear what other people are saying, but let it go in one ear and out the other if what they're saying isn't helpful for you, or if it clashes against your principles or the things that you're shooting for. Because they're not always going to know best. It's your life. Okay, so listen, take things with a grain of salt, however. All right. Moving forward, so here is the card for kind of where I see things moving towards the end of the month. We have the 9 of Wands, and we also have the 10 of Coins. Both of these really excellent cards. So I see us kind of coming into the month with a lot of false starts. Like I said, you've got this sort of feeling like, oh gosh, maybe I've been on pause. Maybe a lot of things have been held up. You maybe even have in your head that, hey, am I going to get out of this? Is this going to move ahead for me? But towards the end, I do see this idea of, maybe you have your stuff in a row. Now be very careful, because look at these. This is a card that it definitely could happen. I see this moving where you are saying, okay, I have a lot of accomplishments. I have a lot of things under my belt that I can be proud of, but this is a wand and this is also a wand. Here's the 10 of Wands. And remember, I said one of the dangers here is that you may just drop everything. If you drop everything, and that's something that's going to happen, you are not going to be able to have all those things later and say, look what I did. But I get a sense that there are going to be a number of things that you're going to be able to look back on and say, yes, I did this. Tangible things that you were passionate about. Also, kind of in the long run, I get the sense that you may look back at June and say, wow, okay, I utilized the energy of that month. I was able to do what I needed to do, and I built something on that. So you have the opportunity here to really build something in the month of June. So just a quick recap here as I'm looking over again. One thing that's really interesting, I see swords, I see wands, I see no cups in this whole thing. So there may be a bit of kind of being emotionally, and it kind of depends, since this is a general reading, I'll just say if there's no cups, it could be either that means in your life there's an overwhelming amount of emotion, or it could be that this is a very emotionally disconnected month for you. But I think it's very interesting, kind of as we look here. I get this sense overall of kind of being stuck, wanting to sort of move forward. You have the ability to do that. It's just a kind of this mind over matter piece. I oftentimes see that with the 6 of Swords, that idea of a mind over matter. So I guess my best advice for you would be, take a look at where you're at. Realize there's a lot of opportunities that could be sitting for you here. There's a lot of things for you. Keep that in mind. Look for them. Don't get discouraged. If you have to redo things, if you have to do things repeatedly, if you feel like you're banging on the same drum all month and no one's listening, that could be the case. But find your own voice, be able to move forward yourself, and see what you can build. Question for you. I'm curious to know really what you guys are thinking at this point. What is this card? I'm curious to see kind of what you guys think here. When it comes to this card, are you seeing this right now? Are you feeling stuck? Are you feeling like you've been sort of hit the pause button on? What are you feeling? Where in your life? I'd be really interested to know. Put a comment down below. Tell me, say, hey, I was in group number 1, and that 4 of Swords, that's speaking to me in this way. I'd be really curious to know. I want to know what this card position 1 is really manifesting like in your life. So go ahead and let me know that down below. Now, we are not quite done. I have one final bit of guidance. I'm going to be pulling actually from this deck, my Earth Magic deck. So certainly don't leave. I'm going to go ahead and include a timestamp so that you can head down to that. That's one last piece there from this gorgeous deck, and I will see you there. Okay, on to group number 2, the people with the beautiful key charm. I love this charm. All right, let's start out first and see what card we have here for you. Porcupine Spirit. By the way, I am using the Spirit Animal Oracle deck for this. I absolutely love these. So Porcupine Spirit, and the message here is time for beginner mind. This is, I was just actually reading something, and I'm trying to remember exactly which author it was, but they were talking about how having a beginner's mindset is so important to anything that you do, because it lends that passion that you need to get started with something. So as we're looking at this reading, keep that in mind. What do you have that you could maybe refresh your excitement about, because that's something that is being pushed through here with this reading with Porcupine Spirit, time for beginner mind. So that's beautiful. Trying to think here which author that was, and I just can't remember. Okay, so we are looking at the month of June for you to see what we can find, to see what message is out there for you. So these wonderful group number 2. Right. Here we go. All right. Okay, excellent. So taking a look here, guys, we're going to start just first with the Page of Cups. So we've got 2 cards here, obviously, to sort of take a look at where things are starting. But I want to start with the Page of Cups here. And this is really indicating what June is going to look like for you in general. I love this page. And let me see if I can get it really close in here. Look at that little fish. You guys see that fish? And I love how the page looks like he's listening to that fish. The page is fantastic. This particular page deals a lot with, it could be messages, but a lot of times I think of them not as much as messages from people, but more that idea of messages within yourself, things that are going to drive you. This is where this porcupine might be coming from. What is something that you are absolutely passionate about? Because this looks like a month for a lot of passion. Now, the interesting thing here is that it's also has the Lovers reversed. So I get a sense that you are going to have something that comes to you this June that is going to really ignite your passion and make you really excited. But it's not going to be the same thing that you're typically excited about. This is something that maybe you haven't thought a whole lot about before, or it could be completely diverging from what you normally would put your efforts toward. But I do see something that's really going to get you excited, get you very interested in things for this year, or this month, excuse me. Taking a look here. Wow, this is really interesting. We had that show up as well in the first pile's reading, so that's really interesting. Actually in the same position, so who knew? So guys, one thing, when I look here, the Ace of Swords here reversed actually in this spot is telling me that if we go back to looking at the things that are actually driving you this month, there are some deep things that hurt you in the past, or that defeated you in the past, or made it really hard for you to move through in the past. And we're talking not last week, we're talking about something that is just deep within you, has been there forever and ever. And it's related to this. So whether this was something where someone said you couldn't do something, someone hurt you, there's something that's really actually connected to this piece here, connected to this page, connected to this passion, connected to this thing that's going to light your fire this month. And in the past, maybe you didn't spend a lot of time on it because someone pushed you down with it, but there is right now and recently a lot of support for you in this area. You've got a whole community around you, or you have a whole family around you, or you have your spirit guides behind you, or you have someone behind you, something giving you like a battery, charging you for this. It is a fantastic time for you to jump into this thing, whatever that is. And once again, with that page, this could be something, a lot of times Cups cards could be it could be very relationship based. So maybe you are stoking a relationship with a particular person. It very much could be that. It could be you digging into something that's super creative, maybe something that you haven't spent a lot of time with before, but you feel like now's the time. So far, I'm really excited for you. And even with this ace, all that tells me is that the time before wasn't right for you, because there's going to be a sting. There's going to be something that's going to sting you a bit about this thing that you are working on. All right. Okay. So taking a look here. Okay. So we have the Fool. I love this Fool card. It's so fun. So I get the sense that for you, you're just going to have a sort sort of this mentality as you jump into this thing, where, you know, it's sort of a, for lack of a better term, kind of a screw it mentality. Like, am I going to succeed at this? Pfft, I don't know. Doesn't matter. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. No, it doesn't matter. I'm going to go for it anyway. I just absolutely love that idea of you know, being willing and able to kind of jump off the cliff, so to speak, and jump into something new. And, you know, even if it's not something brand new. Now, remember, guys, this doesn't have to be absolutely brand new. It could be something that maybe is just in the infant stages. But you are just going to go and say, hey, I'm done. I'm absolutely willing to just jump off a cliff for this thing and see where it takes me. Maybe I'll fly. So I want to take a look at kind of some of the best things and the worst things that could happen for you. Okay, so taking a look here, we have, you know, the very best thing that I am seeing, the very best thing that I'm seeing that could happen for you is that you may very well just get unstuck out of a situation. This may, whatever you're doing is actually going to uproot you. It's going to take you from where you were and shove your butt right out the door and say, okay, good, let's get you out of that funk that you were in. One of the things here, what I'm getting here out of things that might mislead you, I'm getting a sense, if you look here in this particular card, you can see she's looking here, well, she's not looking, her eyes are closed, but she's obviously following her senses to take her to the spot that's going to be, you know, wherever her destination is in this card. So I get the sense, actually, you know, when it comes to this Fool, okay, you can see he also is just sort of leaping out on faith. She's in much of a way doing the same thing, but she's kind of following her head or her heart, I guess, to drive her where she needs to be. I would say make sure you don't allow that to get too far gone. Okay, yes, follow your heart. Yes, pay attention to what it's saying, but it may lead you just a bit too far astray. So if things start going a little bit crazy, keep that in mind and maybe reel it in just a little bit, because we want to make sure that, you know, idealistic is one thing, but idealistic and somewhat realistic at the same time is so much better. All right, so let's see where other people are going to be there for you in terms of support. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Okay, so favorite card in the deck, here's the Hermit card. Okay, so I get the sense here, actually, I would be very careful when it comes to listening to other people this month. The Hermit card, when I see the Hermit, it's also often, a card of guidance, a teacher, someone that you can follow or listen to. So when I see it reversed, I see it as someone who's acting as a teacher or acting as a leader, and perhaps their message isn't quite on point. You need to make sure you're following something that is true to you, but is also, I don't want to say right, because right and wrong are such relative terms. Just be very careful. If you have someone who's a leader or coming out as a leader or saying, hey, this is the way that we need to do things, check yourself first. Make sure that those things follow with your, your beliefs, your ideals, okay? Make sure that it's something that resonates with you and that feels right to you. Just don't blindly follow a leader just because they're a leader. Okay. All right, very interesting. So moving in, as we get down to the end of the month, okay, we have the Seven of Wands reversed, and we also have the Eight of Swords. Or I'm sorry, not reversed, we have the Seven of Wands and we have the Eight of Swords reversed. So here's the thing that I'm seeing. This is really interesting, and it actually looks pretty violent, but it's actually a good thing. So when I see this this card right here, what I'm seeing for you towards the end of the month is that you're going to end up in a situation where you are feeling like maybe June was a battlefield for you. Maybe you had to stand up for your beliefs. Maybe it's related to this person over here. Maybe, you're going out on a limb. You're disconnecting from things that weren't always things that you were looking at. Maybe you're battling these old kind of demons that were there for you. But you're going to feel that you have to really make your voice heard this month. And so I'm seeing a lot of that. In the long run, the one thing that's really great is this idea of you being able to break chains, being able to break away from something. So there, that is, we have it reversed so you can see he's going to be able to get out of this. So I think in the long run, there's going to be a freedom that's going to come from this. So, I'd be really curious to know, guys, when it comes to this page, I'm kind of looking at this first card here, and I'm wondering if you know what this is already. Do you have an inkling of what this is that's lighting a passion for you right now? And if you could, let me know that. I'm doing, that's my study card in this particular reading for everyone for June. So if you could, down in the comments below, let me know, hey, I was in group number 2, I was in the key group, and when I saw the page, I know what it is, here it is, or no, I don't know what it is yet. Let me know. I'd be really curious to know what that is for you and see how that's coming through just in general for the collective. Now, going ahead, gathering these things up, we are not done yet. I actually have one more reading for you. It's going to be at the end. I'm going to be pulling for a card for everyone out of my Earth Magic deck. So I'm going to include the timestamp there for you. Make sure that you jump to that. Don't go yet. Want to make sure that you get that last bit of guidance for June. Okay, group number 3, those of you that chose our Ankh pendant here. All right, let's see what is in store for you. Ah, beautiful. Okay, so I am using, by the way, guys, I'm using the Spirit Animal Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. I love this deck. And look at this little squirrel right here. Okay, and Squirrel Spirit says, believe in yourself. So this is going to be the overarching message for you today as we're going through this particular reading. So when it comes to the month of June, believe in yourself. Oh man, I feel like I could take that and put it on a sticky note or something, put it in your planner, put it in your phone, make it your home screen. I don't know, find a way, but believe in yourself, because apparently there's some way in your life where that is either needs to be reinforced or just something that you need to hear. So keep that in mind as we're going through this particular reading. And group number 3, we are looking at June, and we want to know kind of what is in store for you in June. Where are you now? What has been happening for you recently? Okay, let's take a look here. Ah, interesting. Okay, so for a lot of you, June is going to be actually a fantastic month. I love when you take the hangman and you put him on his head. Look, it looks like he's dancing. It looks like he's having a bit of a blast. Now, the thing is, though, is, the funny thing about this particular card, when it comes to the Hanged Man, he is coming out of, for a lot of people, it is coming out of this sort of feeling of isolation, or this feeling of loneliness, or this feeling of introspection. So this kind of freedom or coming out or emerging actually comes after that initial introspective period. So for a lot of you, I feel like this is a time period where you in June are going to be coming out of whatever this was for you, and that of course is going to be different for everyone. But when you take the hangman and you flip him on his head, when you take the hangman and you flip him off of his head, I guess, he becomes the dancing man. Okay, so a lot of things, being able to move forward in confidence. So I love that. Some of the things I see here, we have the Page of Pentacles and he's kind of flipped. I see, perhaps some sort of thing here this month that is either starting out very slowly or taking a while to maybe get off the ground, or a missed opportunity. And because it's with the coin, I see this having to deal with material stuff, earthly things. So either missing out on either money or a job or some sort of like physical, tangible thing. It doesn't necessarily have to be money or a job, but something physical and tangible. So it's almost as though there's something that's going to come through, and it is going to kind of be a near miss for you. So just watch out for that. I think we can sometimes be super proactive, right? Like if we know that something's going to be a near miss, if it's something we're really excited about, maybe we can work to make sure that it's not. Okay, so just keep that in mind. That's part of why we're doing this, right? Okay, so taking a look at kind of where we came from and kind of where things have been for us. So I get a sense for a lot of you. Okay, one of the things leading to this, so we have this sort of coming out of isolation, meditation, pick a word for that. At the core of it, this is something that was not easily come about. This idea, it was not easily come about. When I see this too, this person is having to really juggle things and weigh things. So there is a lot of trying to figure out what is going on and making things work for you. So getting to this Hanged Man reversed situation to where you feel like, I can move forward, I can make a decision. I feel like that's coming from a lot of deliberation, or it could be just because maybe you as a person tend to be someone that weighs things a lot before making a decision, but this is something really deeply rooted. And actually leading more to that decision situation here, I really do get a sense that there were a lot of things leading into June, a lot of possibilities leading into June, a lot of things from which you could choose, which is fantastic. But, when you pick one, take it, run with it, okay? See what you get. Just because you are given a bunch of opportunities does not mean that you are going to take any of them. You could just sit and watch them all go by. You could actually seize a number of them. So see what is there, see what you can take. But I get a sense that whatever you run with, you're going to feel pretty good about it as you move ahead. All right. Let's see kind of what we have coming down the line for us. Okay. Interesting. All right. So for many of you, we have the Sun reverse card, and this is in that position of what kind of you're expecting or what you're seeing or what you see happening throughout the month of June. For a lot of you, I feel like you don't feel super supported. So you have this Hanged Man. Look, he's got this halo around his head, and here's this beautiful, almost a halo made out of the sun, right? But it's reversed. So you get the sense that, hey, here's this thing you're really excited about that you're ready to move forward on, or a decision that you have made, and you're feeling like, hey, I am not going to get the support that I need, or the people around me are not going to support me on that. So we're going to see if that's going to be the case or not. But for now, that's something that's probably in your expectations where you're thinking, I don't know if this is going to go through or if I'm going to have everything that I need. Let me see here. Oh, look, the Page of Pentacles came up again in this different deck. Okay, very interesting. All right. So I'm actually seeing a bit of caution here. And here, I'm actually going to backpedal a little bit because I had mentioned this. I said, hey, it could be really good to flip this card up on its head. Get whatever that opportunity is, make sure that you seize it. However, I see down here in this position, I wanted to see kind of what is one of the worst things that might come out of this month for you. And I'm seeing this page down here. And what this is telling me is that whatever this thing is that it's going to pass you by, you might be saying, oh man, I'm so bummed that I missed that. I'm so mad that I missed that opportunity. It might actually be the best thing for you. So actually by saying, oh, let me work really hard to make that work. No, I'm going to say, actually don't. Watch it happen. If it passes you by, if it doesn't work out, you have to say to yourself, okay, why didn't it work out? How can I make things better for myself? I mean, just, you should never just accept defeat and say, oh, well, it wasn't meant to be. But I do get the sense that there's probably more thinking that needs to be done. The Two of Swords here, what is the best thing that could happen for you this month? Not moving forward with something, not having whatever this thing is click for you, but actually more thinking, thought, and decision making. So I hate to say that because obviously we are coming in out of a position where this is something that's already happening anyway. You're already juggling ideas. You're already thinking about things. You already have all this stuff. But I get the sense that it might be, maybe we need to go back. Maybe you need to go back and actually reconsider that, because with these two pages here, this idea of new opportunities or something new coming forward, perhaps it actually sticking would actually be not good for you, which is kind of a funny thing to say. So sometimes this happens as we work through the cards. So, and guys, I don't know what that is. And I'm not saying that, you know, everything you try for this month is going to be a failure. That is absolutely not what I'm saying. And in fact, because it's a page, guys, I would suggest that we're not talking about like a huge life-changing event. For most of you, it's probably going to be something fairly small. You know, it's within a month's time, but it's going to be something that's going to be a bit smaller. But I do get the sense that whatever this thing is, it might even be more, you know, towards the end of the month. You might get a better idea of what this thing was. But I would say it's definitely something that you're going to want to reflect upon. All right, so let's see. Jeez. Let's see where other people are. My goodness. Terrible shuffle fingers today, guys. All right. So I want to see where other people are. I want to see how this is going to turn out for you. By the way, guys, if you already know kind of what this hangman represents, this is kind of my focus card for today, for today's reading. So I'd be curious to know, I'm asking the other groups as well, you know, to let me know, you know, are you aware of what this is right now in your life? So go ahead down in the comments below, let me know, say, hey, I was in group 3. You know, when I see the hanged man reverse, you know, I already know, you know, what that is. I know what that is in my life right now, this thing that I'm dancing about, this decision that I've made, this thing that I'm moving ahead with. Or no, I don't know yet. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but let me know. That's my study card in this particular one. I want to see where everyone's kind of landing on that. So I'd be really curious to know. So go ahead and get that down below. Okay, I want to see where other people are here and kind of how this is going to turn out for you towards the end of the month. Interesting. Okay, so right now we have the 8 of Swords reverse, and this also came up actually in one of the other readings, which is interesting. I get a sense though that you are going to have actually more support than you think perhaps you would from the people around you. In fact, I think you're going to get some people that are going to support you that you would never have expected are going to support you. I get the sense that you may actually get someone that kind of just randomly shows up that you haven't talked to in a really long time, or someone that has always been like an absolutely opposite opinion from you might suddenly show up and say like, oh yeah, I absolutely believe that, you know, we're on the same page. Okay, so that is fantastic. Just keep that in mind. And as we look, wow, look, the 2 of Swords came up again. Wild. Okay. And let me just see kind of where this is going. All right. Fantastic. Okay. So here's what I see. As we move down and wind down towards the end of June, for you, I'm seeing a lot of, unfortunately, I'm seeing, well, I say unfortunately, but this could be okay. Remember, I was saying, you know, you want to go ahead and, you know, rethink things. I'm seeing here by the end of June that you could have a bit of confusion about actually where you're going. In the long term, and take a look at this 3 here. In the long term, actually, I feel like if you take the time to rethink whatever this is, okay, we got to figure out what this is. Everything's hinged upon this. Everything's hinged upon what's in that little halo up there. It's hard to be specific when I'm talking to a number of people here. But if you rethink things by the end of the month, I think down the long haul, okay, stretching out forward, the planning is going to be much better. So I get this sense for you that, hey, you have all these opportunities, you know, you're thinking about what's going to work for you. You think we have something, you know, maybe in the past there was a lot of kind of juggling and thinking about things and trying to figure stuff out. You make a decision, you move ahead. You're not sure if other people are going to support you on it. You really don't know. But I think it's really interesting that we're getting a lot of kind of crazy start and stop messages. We're getting a lot of, you know, do it, don't do it. This thing's going to pass you by, but it's probably for the best. You need to rethink that thing. You need to double think that thing. But in the end, we're looking at this idea of having things, you know, having a good plan, having something that's going to really carry you through into the future. So this is a month to really be aware of what's going on around you and what's going to be the best thing for you. All right, so don't go away. We're not quite done. I have one last bit of guidance for everyone. I'm actually going to be doing a reading and pulling from my Earth Magic Oracle deck. So give me just a second. We're going to clear all these out, and then we're going to go ahead and get that pulled up. So stick around just a quick second. So I have one last bit of guidance for you today. This is my Earth Magic deck. I'm going to be pulling a card, giving us all just a bit more guidance for the month of June. While I'm shuffling, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a poll up there in the corner for you. Please take a quick second. Let me know in the poll above which one of these items you chose. I'd be really curious to know kind of who, how many people chose which particular item. So that's real quick. You can just tap on that. It doesn't even take you away from the video. So let me know which one you chose. And then I'm going to go ahead and just pull a card here for us. And I got the fire card, passion. Look at that fire breather. Okay, so we started out, guys, with a different card for each one of you, a different oracle message for each one of you, just to kind of keep in mind. And then, of course, we had our reading, but I want you to keep in mind this idea of passion, fire, within you, burning fire to drive you forward, to keep you moving ahead. Fire is the thing that is going to ignite the stuff that you're holding inside, that's going to drive you ahead. It could sustain you on a long journey. It could be just something to, get, things moving. But you really need to think about what stokes your fire, what gets you passionate, and really focus on that. And there you go. And that's it for today's reading. So if this resonated for you, be sure to hit that like button. If you like this type of video, be sure to subscribe, click on the bell so that you're able to see when the next one comes out. And I'd love to hear from you what you'd like me to read on next. So leave your suggestion in a comment below. And as I said before, this is a more general reading for the collective. If you are looking for a more specific one-on-one reading, I'd love to do that for you. Just head over to my website to see the different things that I offer and hit me up there. My link for that is below. Thank you for hanging out with me, guys, and I'll see you next time.